When you can be getting more money.
Okay. Whoops. Okay, so for the warm-up today, we're going to practice putting a few sentences into the imperfect. And I'll read what they say in English. Number 1 says, we walked on the beach every day during vacation. Number 2, my parents used to give money to their church each year. Number 3, my friends and I danced at NAYB for 10 years. And number 4, yesterday I felt sick all day. So these are all ongoing things from the past, so we can use the imperfect for each verb here. So take a few minutes to think about how you would write these out, and then we'll write the answers on the board.
What's the new form of promenade or promenade?
Promenade.
Yeah, it's regular ER. Is it 1 M or 2?
It is 1.
Yeah.
And also, your sheet that I gave you, must have been, 2 weeks ago, has a lot of these phrases, the time phrases like every day, each year, sometimes, from time to time. So look on there if you're not sure what the general time frame phrase would be.
For the second one, for used to give, are you gonna have ethnal or are you gonna conjugate to give?
You're going to conjugate the verb to give. And when you put it into the imperfect, then it means used to.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
what's the verb for to give?
Oh, donate.
Okay.
Donner.
What's money?
L'argent.
It's not on too late. No. Oh, yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, but I always try to do that and it's always wrong. Why do you always say everything? Not always. Like there's a couple times when I've
But that says it. It says to me.
I know, but there's a different one.
Huh? Qu'est-ce que tu penses?
How do you say each year?
Oh, chaque année, or you could say tous les ans. So either, you could either use chaque année or tous les ans. This one means each year, this one means like every year.
That's English.
Yeah.
But that's not.
Think about what the full verb is to feel. So it's se sentir. Sentir.
So
But, well, it's irregular though. So if you were saying we feel, you'd say nous nous sentons with ONS. So in the imperfect, you'd say je me sentais.
Jews play. Oh, I thought it was yours. It's only yours to do. Well, that's two play. Yeah, same thing. No, there's no. Yeah. Okay, bon. So point numéro 1, we walked on the beach every day during vacation. Chantal, what do you have here? Good. Ions sur la plage chaque jour. Or tous les jours, you could also say here. Pendant les vacances. Okay, très bien. Well, numéro 2, my parents used to give money to their church each year. We said each year could be either tous les ans or chaque année. Marie?
Mes parents donnaient l'argent à leur église chaque année.
Okay, now here, say the verb again.
It's a don. I think it's pronounced donate, but it's.
Yeah, okay, how did you spell it?
It's Donnai.
Good. So just pronounce donner. Donner. Okay? Yeah, this set of 3 vowels here just makes an A sound. Donner, and then de l'argent à leur église, and then chaque année. Okay, so leur église would be saying their church, so we can use that possessive word. Okay, for numéro 12, my friends and I danced at NAYB for 10 years. And so we know we can use the imperfect because it also makes sense to say my friends and I used to dance at NAYB for 10 years, okay? Now, we have given a specific quantity, but it's over a long duration of time. So we want to use imperfect. Chantal?
Mes amis et moi dansions à NAYB pour 10 années.
Good. And how did you spell danser?
DANSIONS.
Good. Or dansion, I'm sorry. Okay, bien. Mes amis et moi dansions. How would we say, comment dit-on NAYB en français? What would the letters sound like? Close.
Oh, Y.
N-A-Y-B. Okay, excellent. For numéro 4, yesterday I felt sick all day. Marie?
Hier, je me sentais malade tout le jour.
Good. And we can do journée here, toute la journée, actually, as well. Because journée refers to like the throughout the day, the duration. Okay, je me sentais pardon, forgot malade here. Je me sentais malade toute la journée. Okay, good. Okay, today we're going to begin working on composing a little vacation story in which you're going to be using both the imperfect and the passé composé. So I want to just write a couple of examples sentences up here. We'll think about, let me see what board I put the camera on. Let's see. Oh, it's kind of in the middle, okay. Turn it this way. Okay, so whenever you're telling any kind of story, you're probably going to use a combination of the imparfait and also the passé composé. Okay, so again, just to clarify, and all of these points are on your packet as well that I gave you a couple weeks ago, but when are instances where we're going to use the imperfect during a story? When we're talking about what kinds of things? The background stuff, which typically comes at the beginning of the story, right? Not always, though. Okay, so background stuff would be, for example, things like the weather, what was going on in the area while you were there, were there a lot of people around, let's see, what did the buildings look like there, that kind of information. Okay, what else? Yeah. Okay. Good. We'll also use it for describing the general overall, like your general overall opinion of your vacation. For example, like, all in all, it was a great vacation, right? You do c'était excellent, c'était une vacances excellente, for example. Or it was tiring, c'était fatigant. It was exciting, c'était excité, etc. Or it was good or bad even. Okay, we're also going to use the imperfect if we are describing what was going on at the same moment when something else happens. Okay, we were dancing in class, and all of a sudden, Michael Vernon came in for a visit, okay, for example, right? Something unexpected. Okay, so we were dancing, that would be imperfect, that's what you guys were doing when the action occurred, Michael Vernon came in, right? That would be passé composé, okay? Okay, let's see here. Beyond. Okay, so then passé composé, we're going to use to talk about specific actions that occur at specific or quantifiable times. Typically, they're one-time occurrences. And typically you see phrases associated with passé composé like, at that moment, all of the sudden, then we decided to do this. At 5 o'clock, we ate dinner. Then we went back home for the evening, so things like that. When you're giving more of a rundown of what you did, whereas these are more detail-oriented, more thought and feeling-oriented. What did you like? How did you feel about it? What was happening? That kind of thing. Okay, and then also the one other major one for the imperfect is describing ongoing events in the past. Okay, if you say you danced for 10 years at NAYB, obviously it is an action that you did in the past and we are quantifying it. However, you did it like a lot throughout those 10 years. It was ongoing. So if it makes sense in English to say, I used to do something as well, then you probably are going to want to use the imperfect. Same thing if we were talking about Lauren and we said, Lauren has been playing tennis for, whatever, 15 years or whatever, well not that long, she would have been playing as an infant, but for 10 years or whatever it happens to be, we'd probably be using the imperfect. Now, if we said, oh, Lauren played tennis over the weekend, then we'd use passé composé. Okay, so what I want for you to do is to think about maybe a family vacation that you took, and whether it was a good one or a bad one. And I want for you to come up with some sentences that you could put into your story that would take imperfect, and some that would take passé composé. What were some specific things and activities that you guys did? And then what were some details about the place you visited? What was the weather like there? What kinds of things did you wear and eat and do on a regular basis, like every day? So for right now, just brainstorm and make 2 categories. You don't have to write a whole thing or organize it, but we'll work on this for the next day or so and have you come up with a nice, solid story to turn in for a grade. Okay, so I'm going to give you some time to work on this, and if you want to chat with each other and help each other, that's fine. And try to come up with maybe, let's say, 5 sentences for each category, and that way you'll have a nice solid paragraph in the end. Yeah, if you want to write it in English first and then translate it, that's fine. Sometimes that can be frustrating to do though, because you write these nice complex English sentences and then you get frustrated when you can't make them sound as nice in French, and that's fine. They're not supposed to be because we're not that advanced yet. But yeah, however you want to do it is fine. Yeah. So go ahead and take the rest of the time to work on this.
Is saying last summer or 2 summers ago we went to Disney, is that specific enough for passé composé?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we went to Disneyland, yep. That would be passé composé for sure. And if you want to say 2 years ago or 2 summers ago, you can use the construction il y a and then the time frame. So il y a 2 ans would be 2 years ago. Or if we said il y a 5 minutes, that would be 5 minutes ago. Whereas if you want to say last year or something like that, then you'd use.
And that's already in past tense?
What's that?
That one's already in past
Yeah,
tense?
it's a fixed construction,
Okay.
so even though it looks like it's present tense, it's in the past for French. It's implied that it's in the past. L'année dernière, on the other hand, would mean last year. So dernier always means last. If we wanted to say last Monday, we'd say le lundi dernier.
Okay.
If you remember those phrases. Another example of where you might use imperfect is talking about like who you stayed with during the duration of the trip, or where you stayed.
So if you're saying like my family and
Mhm.
we went, you have to say like so many
You som alle, yeah. Yeah, so with your passé composé, make sure you're paying attention to, is it an avoir verb or a house of être verb as well? Really?
Oh, no, I'm searching.
Oh, okay.
But I do have a question.
Yeah.
How do you say family reunion?
Oh, okay. Actually, reunion is already a French word, but they ironically they don't use it for a family reunion. They would say en rejoindre, like a rejoining of family. So en rejoindre de famille. And if you want to say like our family reunion, you could just put in notre.
What's sunny again? Is that just wrong?
Soleil. The expression is il fait du soleil, so an imperfect would be il faisait du soleil.
Are all of the house of extra verbs irregular?
No.
So is
Most of them are regular,
Okay.
actually.
is reste irregular?
Reste is regular.
What's the word hotel?
Hotel, hotel, H-O with accent circumflex, T.
That'd be oh, like staying. Yeah.
That would be a good sentence. The people at the hotel were mean. You could use être in the imperfect, describing how someone was. Yeah, or my little brother was annoying on the trip. That that would be imperfect. Yeah. Now, if you said my little brother hit me, that would be passé composé because it's like an action. So
Right.
yeah.
If I wanted to like what the name of the hotel was, like we stayed in a big hotel
Mhm.
called,
Mm-hmm.
how do you?
Appelé, that would be another imperfect verb. It was called. So you would say dans un hôtel qui appelé. And then that was called such and such. And then rester, whoops. Like we stayed would be nous restions. So here would be your full sentence.
Very helpful.
And actually, I'm sorry, here you have to use sapere.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, there were so many chemicals in the hot tub that it didn't even feel more like it felt cold. And we all had like terrible burns. It was awful.
Wow.
And it happened the second time.
I should have written about when my family took nursing camping for the first time at O'Hagan, and it stormed. There was a tornado like in the camp area, and so we had to leave. We went to a Ramona Inn, and they had terrible pool as well.
Is that the one that's on the campsite?
No,
Oh,
well,
because
I mean,
we snuck
Hotel
into
pools
the
are sort of
hotel.
hidden as I feel.
Yeah, they are.
We snuck into that hotel and they went swimming, but I didn't go because I got
They just
thrown
were
in the
like-
lake.